When I started lifting, I was focusing on eating enough. I was focusing on eating big. After all, wherever you looked, the advice was eat big to get big. I was fixated on the scale. That was my only real metric, looking at how much weight I gained. And Flex magazine at the time would say you should be looking to gain between 3 to 4 pounds a month. And at that point, I didn't really know if I was gaining muscle or gaining fat or gaining more fat than I was gaining muscle. So then I discovered some other metrics which I used to help me determine whether I was gaining fat or muscle. So by the end of this video, you'll have more metrics to measure your progress to see if you're gaining muscle or fat. First of all, I just want to say apologies for the audio quality. It might be a bit off in this video. It's because I'm using a Rode mic which is not attached to my lapel, so it might be a bit more, I don't know, a bit more echoey, but I've done my best with this mic. But future videos, I'll make sure my batteries are charged. So the first thing before I get into the metrics you can use, I just want to say that while you're gaining muscle, it's inevitable you're going to gain a bit of fat, especially if you're very lean to begin with. So you need to remember that. You just need to make sure that you're gaining more muscle than you are fat. One of the key metrics a lot of people use is strength. So just tracking your strength. To do this, you need to make sure you're tracking your workouts, tracking how much you're lifting, and trying to improve on that. Like I would say bi-weekly at least. It might be an extra rep you're getting, or it might be an extra bit of weight you're adding to the bar. It could be either of those, but this is a common method used. If you're gaining strength, you know you're going in the right direction. The issue with this and this alone is the fact that yes, when you're gaining muscle, you'll also gain strength. But if you're gaining body fat, a lot of body fat, and you're also gaining muscle, you're still going to gain strength. So that's the one issue with using just this metric. But that's where this next one comes in. If you're tracking your strength is going up. You're also using measurements, so measuring parts of your body. I'd suggest primarily measuring your arms, chest, and your waist. The reason I select these three is because if your waist is staying the same or going down, then you know you're heading in the right direction. You know you're not gaining fat, because a lot of it will be, on most people, will be gained around the midsection. And then if your arms are going up, your waist is staying the same or going down, along with your chest is going up as well, then you know you're likely building muscle, unless you're one of these people that just store all their fat in their chest, which is unlikely. So most people gain the fat around the midsection. This is a great addition to strength to use to track your progress, to see if you're gaining muscle, to see if you're gaining fat. And obviously if you're gaining fat, we'll talk about what you can do later on. But the fact that using this will be, I think, pretty key to tracking your progress. So what you do is you take those measurements every 2 to 4 weeks. I would say every 2 weeks, and just track them, keep a record of them, then you can see them over time. Just make sure you standardize the area you measure in. You want to make sure, like if you're measuring a bicep, for example, you want to make sure you're measuring at the same point of the bicep. So where you can do this is you can measure the length from the shoulder or specific part of the shoulder to the forearm, and then go like halfway or something, or just find a point which you're going to keep. Like you make note of it, because then you'll be able to compare the measurements a lot easier. And also do it without a pump and first thing in the morning without food. The next one to add to this, pictures. Pictures are my favorite because you can see muscle growth. I mean, you can see if your shoulders are getting bigger, you can see if your chest and your arms are getting bigger, you can also see your waist. I suggest taking pictures from the front, back, and side. Those pictures will give you the best, they will give you more than enough to kind of compare with. And then what you can do with those pictures is make sure you're taking the same spot in your house with the same lighting, the same time of day. So if you're doing that and you're doing it every 2 to 4 weeks, you'll be able to see a difference. You'll be able to compare the pictures and see kind of what's working. If you look at the pictures and you're like, oh no, my shoulders are lagging, you can just, maybe increase the volume of the shoulders, or my chest is lagging, increase the volume, or maybe increase your form, improve your form. Even you don't want to increase your form, but you can improve your form, make slight tweaks to the setup and so forth. And if you're working with a coach, you can say, you know, I notice my chest, or maybe the coach will, or hopefully the coach will notice that the chest maybe is lagging, and there might be a few reasons for that. It might be to do with the posture, it might be to do with a bunch of things, but pictures are very useful. The last one I'm not that keen on, but you can do it if you want to, or if you've got the resources, and that is body fat, not fat, measurements. So you can do that using a DEXA scan or an in-body machine. Those are expensive and harder to get hold of, so I wouldn't suggest going down that route unless you have access to one for whatever reason. But what I do suggest is using, you're gonna be like, what? Using calipers. You're getting like a skilled professional. You can look up an Isaac certified professional. I am one myself, but I don't actually do body fat measurements for clients because most of my clients are online. So you can do those body fat measurements and you can get it measured once a month. Just make sure that person's skilled and make sure they're using they're going to be using standardized techniques, and make sure you're using the same practitioner. It will help you track it. You can use that ordinary weighing scales with the body fat measurement inbuilt, so that they've got like a body fat calculator, but those are very, very sensitive, so you have to be mindful of that and do it at the exact same time with the exact same hydration and so forth, because they're affected by the amount of water in your body as well. So they're those bioelectrical impedance machines. So you need to be wary if you're using any like electronic devices. They're going to have a fair bit of error. Obviously doing it with the calipers and doing it with a professional, you're going to have some error, but I think that error is kind of standardized, and if you're changing by like 0.2 millimeter or 0.2%, then you know that that's kind of like not something you need to be paying attention to. But that's another metric. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of body fat measurement. I would suggest just using strength. You can use weight as well in that mix, but you can use strength, pictures and measurements. Doing those three alone will be more than enough to see what's going on. And if you notice you're gaining too much fat, just pull the calories back slightly or increase your movement. Probably your best bet would be to do is just pull the calories back slightly, and then you can see what happens over time. But always give like 2 to 3 weeks to see those changes, to see what's happening when you've made a like dietary change. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to cover for this video. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a massive thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already, and head on over to my Facebook group and join my free Facebook group if you're interested in building muscle and losing body fat. This is a group specifically designed to help men like you make the most out of your physique, make the most out of your body, like physically, mentally, improve the way you feel, improve the way you look. Anyway, until the next video, keep pushing those limits.